Yo, peep these patch notes.
Bill, you've been playing the new Zenless Zone Zero patch. I like saying that. Zenless Zone Zero.
It rolls off the tongue, right?
I'm actually excited to see what Bills has been doing.
It does. Oh, I'm glad you put us right here, right with the anime tatas right in the face.
Yeah,
mommy.
Yeah,
this
mommy
is
I was doing us a big favor here.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Thank you, bro.
So this is Hoyoverse's Gooner game. If you're one of the Gen Z folk, that's if you go onto any of their like TikToks or any YouTube videos and stuff, like the top 10 comments are gonna be like Gooner Game XD. So
Is that really a new term that we're using?
I'm just using it in the context here because it's what I'm seeing.
Whoa.
But yeah, new Zenless Zone Zero patch. They're in patch 1.3 right now. This was a minor story patch. They do minor and major story patches. Minor one every month, and then a major one like on the other month. So it's a bi-monthly kind of schedule. But the reason I wanted to bring it up was because we talked about it when it first came out, and one of the biggest critiques that I had with it was that there wasn't enough content for the game. By the time we had talked about it within a week, I had already cleared out the story content that was in the game. They've added a ton over the past few months. They've been very, very good about the constant stream of content in many different facets of the game. And they've been doing really good about listening to player feedback and kind of streamlining some of the things that people were saying was monotonous. When the game first launched, most of the story-based stuff was through like that TV grid system. I don't know if you guys remember that. They have removed that system from the story-based content.
That kind of sucks. I actually kind of like that system.
So it's still in there for the side content in the dungeons. The dungeons are all still TV based, but for the story content itself, it's more interactive. You walk around open areas, you interact with side characters, like more of that.
That actually
stuff.
sounds like a better move.
Yeah, so it's a happy medium. You still have your TV stuff if you enjoy that stuff, but the story stuff for people that just want to go in, do the story stuff, and then hang the game up until the next story patch. It streamlines that process and I think makes it a little bit more enjoyable for that style audience.
Cool.
Is this
What's that?
is because it's Hoyoverse? I know it's a Gacha game. It has to be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course.
With that being said, though, is it like with the Gacha? Is it characters? Is it abilities? What
It is characters and Wingens, W engines. So that's like their special equipment stuff. So you Gacha roll for characters. If you don't get a character, you get a Wingen. They're these little ball things that slot into each of the characters.
Okay, cool. I'm not allowed to play this.
You're not allowed. Do you have a problem with
No. I play Honkai Star Rail and I got addicted. I can't do another Gacha game. This is bad.
Gotcha.
Hoyoverse got me once. They won't get me anymore.
It's a Hoyoverse.
It's
so
fucking called Gacha for a reason, guys.
Yeah, anything that you had an issue with in any of the other Hoyoverse games, you're gonna have the same situation with the Gacha. So
it's the visuals that get you with these games, the characters, the abilities and shit, and you want.
I bet it's the characters, Tony.
Tony,
I bet it's the characters.
I'm not that guy.
Tony,
So the gameplay
first
that you're
step is
seeing-
denial, man. Just deny it and then play. You'll be fine.
So the gameplay you're seeing on the screen is from the story patch with the new S rank character, Yanagi. She is obviously on full display in this because they're wanting people to get access to her and see if they want to do pulls for her. I will say, out of the 3 Hoyoverse games that are out, I haven't gotten extensively into Honkai because Honkai didn't grab me as much as Genshin and this did.
Which surprised me because with your love of turn-based combat. And
that's what I was about to say.
Those old school CRPGs, I was really shocked.
Raid Shadow Legends wasn't that more comparable to Raid?
Kind of. Raid's a whole different beast in and of itself, but yeah, it was turn-based like Raid.
Gotcha. Understand.
I might get
but
no.
Honkai, I think I jumped into it too late, and I was jumping into it in the point where it was already kind of overwhelming for new characters or for new players. So I couldn't grasp like the ebb and flow of a new. Huh?
When did you jump in, Bill?
I jumped in around the start of the year. I gave it a try. I can't remember
Yeah,
exactly
see, they've
when.
already see if you're trying to jump into Honkai Star Rail now, there's just so much going on. It's kind of hard. And I
Yeah.
agree. Like this is probably why I would give Zenless Zone a try now
Yeah,
before
yeah.
they get too deep into it, and then
Yeah, they're about 5. I think this is month 5. In right now. So it's still in a good point. They're getting to a point where there's a ton of content that you can do outside of story stuff. The 1.0 story was only about 10 hours long. They've probably got in total about 25 to 30 hours of story content now, from the story patches that they've updated. And there is a ton of side stuff. And it's not just like your action combat like you were seeing there. They've got an arcade that has 3 different like unique mini games that could be their own like little mobile games in and of themselves. They've got your classic like Snake, but it's done in a battle royale style. It's Snake Battle Royale, which is interesting, and you actually play against other players. They've got a Soul Hounds arcade game where it's like you are racing people to descend to the bottom of this like bejeweled style landscape. So if you click on tiles that are like red and of the same color, it'll eliminate all of them at the same time. Really fun there. And then they just added another one where it's kind of like Vampire Survivor, where it's an auto battler and you're collecting these characters to auto battle with your character and see how far you can go through the levels. It's all really neat on that regard. A ton of side quests. They've got 4 dungeons. They just added a 5th dungeon, which is like your end game type stuff.
It's an MMO.
Yep,
No,
absolutely.
It's
Um,
Yeah, 5 dungeons. They've got end boss raids. They're supposed to be adding co-op raids at some point, but they have not added that in yet. And I don't even know how they're going to do co-op
that
raids.
would be pretty interesting to see. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think
well, Genshin did
does
co-op raids.
yeah, Genshin has
the co-op
co-op.
okay, but
Yeah.
it's not great.
Both Genshin's
Star Rail
co-op,
doesn't.
it limited your character. So if you had
Yeah.
one other person in,
Yeah.
you each controlled 2 characters. If you
I don't like
had
that.
3 players in, the host got 2 characters
Host
and the
got
other
2,
2 players
yeah.
got 1. And if you had 4, everybody just got 1 character. So
Definitely.
I don't know how they're going to do that with this, because it is a 3 character system, and the way that the combat functions, there's a heavy emphasis on swapping characters in and out, which I very much like, as opposed to Genshin, where it was kind of like, yeah, I like that way more, because Genshin's combat was like, okay, you've got your one main character, and then you only swap the other characters in and out whenever you're wanting to apply their buffs or shields or stuff, and then you go back to your main character. This one, it actively rewards you for wanting to swap around, whereas
That was my question. Okay.
Yeah, well, it does it a lot easier in this one too, because like you can combo up your abilities with the finishers and shit, right?
Yeah, so if you have an enemy stunned and do a finisher move, it'll auto cycle through your characters if you want them to, or if you don't want to and you just want to stick to your DPS, you can stick on that. If an enemy's attack is coming at you and you swap a character in, they will do a parry for you. So the whole combat system is based around like Devil May Cry style, like quick action based combat and character swapping. So
I literally just got a Zenless Zone Zero ad.
Did you really?
on Twitter talking about this.
Well,
yeah.
Question about the or just kind of statement, right? Like, because I've played all of them. I've played Genshin, I've played Honkai, I've played NZZZ. To me, ZZZ feels like, I don't want to say like the step cousin. It definitely does not, and maybe I'm going to get hate. It doesn't feel as popular or seem to be as popular as like Honkai. Definitely not Genshin. I mean, I think Genshin, kind of kicked is the granddaddy of all of this. I mean, it's not a granddaddy, but it's like the one that really kicked, it off.
So I'm the only reason I understand where you're coming from. The only reason I think it is not getting as popular is because Honkai kind of got. So a lot of Hoyoverse games, their characters kind of almost in the same universe sometimes. Honkai with Genshin with there's another thing for Honkai Star Rail, but Star Rail kind of got really popular after certain characters dropped, like Kafka and stuff like that. They're really deep into the story now. So I see where you're coming from, and I understand that because this isn't as talked about as the other ones.
I think it's a lot more niche than the other
Yeah.
ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One, I think that most gotcha players and stuff, I don't know if there's that much of an interest in like the type of combat that Zenless Zone Zero is among gotcha players, whereas I think Genshin Impact is a little bit like slower based of an action combat system. Plus, it's got the open world aspect where if you don't like the combat as much, you still have the open world traversal that you can kind of get behind. This doesn't have that really. It's really centered more in the combat being the highlight. So if you don't like the combat, you're not gonna like the game.
See, most gacha games, you just sit back, like especially for Star Rail, you're able to just press a button and have the characters fight for you on.
That's because that's because
You get what I'm saying?
Star Rail's a
It's a
what's called
turn-based.
turn-based strategy. So
Right.
Yeah.
they're completely different play styles on both of those fronts.
But most
yeah,
gacha
I see
games
what you're
like that
saying.
has that tendency of being able to just be able to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna let my characters do this and farm for materials while I
Yeah.
go do something else.
Yeah.
This
I
type
also-
of game, you actually have to be present to press. the
Yeah,
button.
I also
So-
feel like Zenless is suffering a little bit from oversaturation, not just within like the gacha sphere, but within MiHoYo's like game base in general. This is their third gacha game out there, and their player base, if they are playing both Genshin and Honkai, do they really want
Yeah.
to add a third
Oh,
gacha to
yeah,
their?
one of the
if
main
you're
reasons, yes.
if you're playing Genshin, like I had a buddy, Solid Light. He was playing Genshin for a long time, and like that was like a full-time job for him. Every night he would come home, spend 4 hours doing his fucking dailies on Genshin, and that was it. That was all he fucking did every
Yeah.
day for like 4 years.
That's
And I-
dedication.
And I think
Yeah.
they're aware of that because Zenless isn't as time intensive as Honkai or Genshin. This is more of the side piece gacha of the MiHoYo games, like the Hoyoverse games, than what those two are, because it's not based around like your dailies and stuff.
angle.
Yes, there are dailies, but they
Yeah.
take literally 1 minute to do. Like
That's-
literally, I can log in, do 1 minute of stuff, shut the game off if I don't feel like playing it. Most of the content in Zenless is based around weeklies and monthlies.
Yeah.
Bill, let's address the elephant in the
That's
room.
good.
Yeah.
Let's address it. What's
Yeah.
what's the drop rates and the pull rates? I need to know.
The drop rates and pull rates, it's the same as Genshin's. Like exactly
damn
the
it.
same as Genshin's. It's 360 polychrome, which is the pull currency in this game. Per pull, every 100 pulls you get pity. If you haven't gotten a legendary by then, you'll get your pity.
100?
It's either 100 or 80.
Ooh.
That's the same
That's
as
even worse
isn't
than
that the
stuff.
same as
Wasn't
as
Genshin 100?
Honkai? Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure. it's the
No,
exact-
I thought Genshin and Honkai were both 100.
Honkai, you get a it's a 50-50 on a character, and if you lose that 50-50, then you get 100% of a pull. of
Okay,
the
so
character that you
so
want.
it is 90. It's 90.
Okay, so
Yeah, it's 90, and there's the 50-50 system. So the first time you get a legendary, it's a 50-50 to be the banner character. If you lose that 50-50, you're guaranteed a banner character on the next one, and it does roll over. Every
Gotcha,
10
same
pulls,
one.
you're guaranteed an A rank. It's literally the same thing as Genshin.
it's the same thing as
Yeah.
Honkai too. Okay, they kept the same system.
Yeah.
The only
yeah.
thing I've seen on Zenless Zone Zero recently is that stupid fucking Bernie dance video
Burnus,
that everybody literally everybody does a fucking TikTok reel or a YouTube short of them doing. I'm just like, shut the fuck
You
up,
wanna-
please.
you wanna make
Listen,
one?
that
Do you wanna
that,
do a
vi-
pre-patch?
that video was a banger,
No.
dude. That video was a banger.
I'm not saying
um,
it wasn't. It's just a fuck. It was a banger like 4 weeks ago.
But closing statements with this, though, I feel like Zenless is in a really good spot to pick it up if you felt like there wasn't enough content. Initially, there is plenty of content now with the game that I think new players shouldn't have a lack of stuff to do for a decent amount of time. And it's at a casual enough pace with it not being daily based that you can kind of slow grind through it and not really feel the need unless you're grinding for polychrome for pulls, which is what I've been doing because I am thoroughly addicted to this game, and it's not just because of the anime assets.
Yeah.
Not
I like what you did there.
hashtag not a gooner game.
Well
Not
done.
a
Well
good
done.
game.
Sure.
All right. Well, there you go. That is ZZZ. I've actually been able to pull myself away from the gacha games and haven't had that itch to come back yet. So
those games are really dangerous for whales. So
yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. I haven't whaled in a long time, man.
It's super free to play friendly.
I'm sure, but I
have heard it is. Yeah.
I haven't
Yes, I haven't.
whaled in a minute.
Yeah,
so.
but still, free to play friendly as a whale. That's
it's
that's no
dangerous.
different. That's really
It's
yeah.
dangerous.
Thanks all for tuning in to the Patch Notes. And if you enjoyed and want to see more, you can catch us live every Thursday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, or catch us after the fact at anchor.fm/prepatch podcast. See you next time.